Well, good morning, good evening, whoever's out there. Thank you, Don, for checking in with me. Hope audio is doing well on this particular ZENcast, and I hope everybody else is doing well. I'm Paul Pedron, product manager of ZENworks Service Desk and Hybrid Workspaces. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about ZENworks Service Desk today. We cover a lot of the ZENworks portfolio, but today we'll be covering a little bit about ZENworks Service Desk, ZSD. What is ZENcast Live? It is for ZENworks administrators, the ZENworks community, and anybody that's really interested in what ZENworks does. We meet the first and third Tuesday at 9 o'clock North American time, Mountain. And you can always find um, our recordings out on the Microfocus Now Open Text support and training site. If you go down to our IM&G Unified Endpoint Management, you'll see ZENcast, ZENworks, Service Desk, Microfocus Connect, and Hybrid Workspaces. You'll find a full playlist on the ZENcast. If they pertain to ZENworks per se, you'll also find it here. Or if it pertains to Service Desk, you'll find it here. So you'll find all the ZENcasts here, plus others sparsed in with the ZENworks training that we have out there. So even if you missed today's ZENcast, hopefully you're viewing it online, a recorded version. You will find that we post the links to some of the PDFs in the description of the recording. So do check the description to see if there's any download links for, let's say, this particular presentation, because this particular presentation does have links, and we want to make sure you can get to those as we go along. Let me go ahead and put that in chat since we're talking about that. I'll grab it here. There we go. Today's ZENcast, today's presentation. And you should be able to download that for your viewing pleasure. Best viewing is 720p 60. Please subscribe. A little bit of channel housekeeping tips. Subscribe, and you can chat with us in the chat. If a question comes up while we're going through something, feel free to put it in chat. We'll do our best to try and answer that. And if you're watching the recording, do put comments and likes. We monitor those. So we'd like to know if this is giving you the right track for this particular forum. And we'd like to get your ideas on extra forums. The section Tidbits and Crumbs, unique name for TIDs and other things. These are some of the TIDs that are out there that are most recent, like ZSD full text search. This was a learning experience for me as well, just understanding the logic for the full text. When you go into Service Desk and you're looking at, we got to go over to user. Is this 8? There's 160. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to user and requests. This search is a full text search. It's not a partial text. It does have wildcards and stuff. And with that learning that I found, I created this TID so that it comes into full circle of what you can search on. It is actually quite powerful. So do look this over if you're looking into searching in requests or knowledge base, even the customer portal. It's very powerful. The other one is the ZSD ticket numbering explained and how ZSD organizes the tickets. So sometimes you'll see a gap, and I labeled it out here and gave the reasons and discovered that while I was in discussion with development about the full text. So again, tidbits are a little bit of what's new. There's other things like can't registers, ECM logs and stuff. Some of the bits is content report for advanced patch feed. This is a report that you could see for patch management. brand new out there for your viewing pleasure if you're doing some ZCM patch management. And then for the legacy patch feed, it's also out there. All right, and then the advanced patch doc. So if you're doing some ZENworks patch management, there's some new docs out there that are available, as well as this video series. So be aware that that's there. There's a couple other videos that we did. Also, a little tidbit is the February 23 appliance security patches were released. That's a quarterly release for patches, and we'll have a video out for that real soon. And then patch services. If you're looking at patch services, you have firewalls and stuff. You need to make sure port 61295 is open, or whatever is labeled. That's a default. Whatever's labeled in the patch settings. Okay. A few crumbs. The ZENworks webinar coming up on March 16th, next week. Go ahead and sign up. They're gonna be talking about Azure AD, macOS Modern Management. Okay, and then also meet the ZENworks Experts Day. You can register for that as well, and log into the community, and then you can actually get to viewing that, because it'll be online with the community, as you can see here. Okay, we can close that. We can close that in these three. Great. Okay, recap of last week, ZSD automation onboarding. We did some things with onboarding that was all automated. So we had, if you have, like, for instance, HR needs to process a new user, there's group templates you can use, group analysis, quick calls, request or incident groups. There's dynamic forms that could dovetail into those as well, getting the right combination of questions and checklist available so that you don't miss a step. And of course you can add to those. So if you have a server down or you have a server maintenance coming up, and what are you supposed to do with updates and scanning and all the different things, what applications need to be upgraded on it or updated, or so many things to do. Do you do a performance check? Do you do a power recycle? Those types of things. You could throw that in dynamic form and it'll come into the request. Talked a little bit about that. Our presentation was to kind of look at all that, was the onboarding, because that had a lot of different components. You can have it start a workflow and open up 5 different tickets with a single request to HR, and then over to facilities and over to other areas. So that was what we did last week. Check it out if you're interested in that. Some of the configuration was process needs to be assigned, generic items, types and categories, dynamic forms, group templates, those things. Okay. The other uses down at the bottom: network maintenance, PC deployments, facilities, HVAC. It goes on and on. Motor pool, oil changes, and checks. So you could really do some ZSD automation that's really unique to your environment, which is very helpful. But today we're going to talk about outages and alerts. All right, everybody ready? We're going to give this a go. So we have outages, and with those outages you can have alerts, but you can also just have alerts for system alerts and those types of things. But scheduled outages is very common, and you may need to see what's going on with your system, or your customer may go, why can't I get into my email, or whatever. They can check out the outages page. There's some configuration settings in here, but we're going to talk about outages. We're going to talk about alerts and some of the system settings. Remember, SLAs can dovetail into that as well. There are public alerts. We're going to talk a little bit about that because it's not as straightforward for the customer as we would think. So we're trying to improve on that. But there's knowledge base reviews. If you have knowledge base and you have a system where they need to be reviewed before they're published, you could set out alerts with that. And then system forms, requests and surveys. And we're going to go to the home alerts and the service SLAs, OLAs. Remember, the OLAs and change control are if you have the advanced version of Service Desk. So we'll touch on that a little bit, but not in too many details. Okay, so we're going to do outages and alerts. We're going to get right into our first set, which is ZSD alerts. Remember the bell, right? Up in the upper right-hand corner, if we go to setup, we can see I got a bell chiming here on my system. If I go to, I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to my other system. This has a little better colors. The color scheme I put on this particular one is so you can see how it really, you can modify the colors to what you need for your environment. And if you have some corporate branding you have to do. So that's just to show that. But let's go over to this one, which is pretty much the default. And we could see we have an alarm here when we're in our administration console. When we go to the technician console, we can always go to home alerts and we could see which alerts we have. Now, we noticed if we go back to the administration console, this particular alert has two alerts, right? 857 and 846. That's when we were trying to do a ZENworks import analysis. So this particular alert here focuses on the system alerts that are generated when you try and do an LDAP sync, when you try and do a ZENworks sync. So if we went to user sources and we did a sync on this, we should see that come up as well. So that's what this particular alert is. Now, once these are all cleared, you can see the ADS import is complete. Once these are all cleared, they will, that bell will go away. All right. It stays there until you have cleared those. Another way you can view them or clear them is in the technician portal, because the technician may not be a part of the ZENworks administrators. But if you went to home and alerts, you can see we have the 3 right here. Okay. So you can clear them here as well. But if we were to clear these, and if you click on these, the actual one, you can see what's going on. Okay, so it's not just an alert, but it's actually a live link to the alert. So you can see what's been done in this particular aspect of the alert. Okay, and we could go ahead and clear, let's say we clear this ADS alert, ADS import. If we were to go over to the other one, you'll see that it's cleared over here. Okay, so you can clear these. And like I said, once it's refreshed, that bell goes away until there's another alert. All right. We're going to focus mostly on the technician and customer portal today with alerts. Now, some of the dependencies on alerts, to be able to set them up and view them. Let's see how we view them. First off, we saw under technician, we can go to alerts. We could see our different alerts. We could see the different statuses for them. We can create, if I have rights, we can create new alerts, which we'll do in a minute. But on the customer portal, if we go over to the customer portal, I'm going to log out first. Oh no, that's what we want. So you can see this current ZENcast alert is coming across the top. Okay, we'll get to outages in a minute, but you can see that we also have some outages here. Okay, both planned and upcoming outages. All right, let's go ahead and log out. One thing that's not the same, and this is where I said viewing it the customer, is a customer portal. Right at this point, you have to log in to see the alerts. And if you want to see the public alerts, you can log into, you can go to the technician portal and you can see these are all public. Okay. This sidebar here wasn't transferred over to the customers as a sidebar. All right. But do know that your customers don't have to log into the customer portal. They can log into the technician portal and still get to their customer portal. Okay. So if I go in as Jill, I think I have Jill in here. You can see I'm in the customer portal. Okay. So you don't have to, you can direct, if you want to take advantage of the technician, the sidebar, have them log in from the technician portal so that they can go to these public places like outages. We can see what the outages are. You can see what forums are going on or alerts are going on. Okay, here's that ZENcast alert we were talking about. And since this is a public alert, it goes into the public homepage. Okay, if we were to log in, we go back to the technician login. But you can easily see statuses right here, which ones are coming up. Planned outages. Okay, we got scheduled maintenance. All right, so there's some things here that are very helpful that the customer may want to view. And this is all the public items. So let's log in as a technician and see how we get those items on that list. So let's go over to our administration setup. We're going to go to setup privileges. Okay, most all of these are in the privileges. So you can see here that we have under user for alerts, technician alerts is on. Okay, you want to make sure that that is on, and this is in the documentation. Again, if you're uncertain and you want to see what those are, go ahead and go to the question mark, the inline help, and it'll give you the details of that page. So the technician alerts we want to have on. Now I'm going to skip over here to the outages so we can see where the outages are, and there's a few places for this as well. We have the ability for a user or technician to create an outage right here. All right. And then when we talk about the system, we have some outage parameters down here. Outage options. Let me increase this just a little bit more. Okay. And so we have planned outages page, the outages page. So whether it's just outages and planned outages, and in this case we have both. If we log in as Jill, we could see, I'm going to bring this down. We could see under outages, we could see outages and planned outages. If I only had one of those, it wouldn't display both of these. So you have the selection for that. So the planned outages and outages page, the criticality. So this is important because if you have this set to only show critical outages and your particular outage you set up when you create it brand new is, let's say, high, it won't show up, right? It's still an outage and it'll do its reminders and its messages and those notifications, but it won't show up in the list of outages depending on what your setting is here. So a lot of times I'll do this low to very low just to kind of show the example of that. Affected relationships and show affected users and inactive items and show change requests. So these are some other details as we create a new outage, if we can search on them, and if change requests will be shown and those types of things. Okay, so those are some of the outage options that we have. Let's go back to alerts. I just wanted to show you that because it's all in this pretty much the same place. Okay, back to alerts. Let's go ahead and, now that we have things set up for alerts, let's go ahead and create one. And we can see here what we have currently running. And actually, I think, let me look at something real quick. Oh, these are outages. Let me go, oh, that's alerts. Alerts go across here. You have your planned outages. Let's go to alerts. I had something, I might be getting alerts and outages mixed up, but let's go to alerts. And this is the different ways you can set up a particular alert. And this is what's affected by those other parameters of being able to see the change requests and so forth. All right. You currently have to have a date, and it has to be at least 5 minutes out. All right. Again, this is alert, and it don't get it confused with an outage. An outage would be, hey, I need to say that there's an outage right now, right? Or I have a scheduled maintenance outage. But this one is alert, just to put it out there. And this is your information severity, or your severity, which is information warning or urgent. And we can do different roles. We can go personal, which would be to Roadrunner itself, because that's who's logged in. Let me go a little bit bigger. Specific user, you can select the user that's in the system. User role, okay, customer, technician, finance, supervisor, so forth. Organization units, right, if you have organization units set in, and public. Now the key is public goes to that technician portal sidebar, or that public area where there's forums and so forth. So if you select public, they have to go to the technician. If you go user role, you can go customer, technician, supervisor. We're going to say ZENcast alert today for demo. I'll hit OK. These two are required. Obviously, the reds are required. We're going to go ahead and punch this out about 5 minutes. 56:21. Oh, not there. There you go, about there. Done. So that'll be up here. But you can send these to partners. You may have partners set up that come in for your printer maintenance. You hire them out to do printer maintenance. You can do alerts for them. All right. Hit save. Done. And you can see it's going to be right here. And we can see it here. We can edit it again if we need to. Okay. Done. All right. So now that we have that alert, we can see that that's probably going to come into the customer portal, but when the time comes due. Okay. Let me go. Let's see. Is there anything else with alerts? Alerts show up here, and if I were to click this, we can see the alert. Okay. When it was created. All right. So you can always turn your alerts off. I'm not going to for this particular demo, but you can turn them off if you wish to. All right, so that's the customer view through the customer portal. Let's go to the technician portal, and we can go to alerts here. Our first one hasn't showed up yet, but if we did again, we could see all the details about it by selecting it. And while we're waiting for that, you may ask, well, how do I get forums, surveys, outages, planned outages here? Or here? Well, let's log in and check that again real quick. Nope. All right. Again, in the administration console, under privileges, user, system, we could see here's your public surveys. We could turn that off. We're not using surveys, fine. Public knowledge base for those public TIDs or articles that you have. So it can come in very handy if you do have those, and expose them to them, and they don't even have to log in. Okay. So we turned off surveys and knowledge base. If we hit save, if we go back to our sidebar, you can see that they're not there anymore. Okay. And if you go into these, you also don't see them on this navigation bar over here. All right, so that turns them on and off, and that's in privileges. If there's any questions, shout them out in chat. Be happy to help you try and resolve it or understand it a little bit better. But that's how we're doing alerts. Now we're coming up to a few more minutes and we'll have our new alert in. We're going to go over to here and see if it shows up. And it should show up in sequence. If there's multiples, they'll just show up in sequence. So we're still waiting on a couple of minutes here, actually a couple of seconds. 15 seconds. I think I did 26 was when I said to activate that alert. Okay, or 27. So I still got another minute. So you can have a publish time. All right, so you can actually create some ahead of time and actually have them in waiting until you're ready to, if you know this is going to happen, just to notify them, hey, by the way, we have changing passwords to the new system today, or, you know, new system uptime, or, okay. So just different alerts that you want to do. We're just about there. We got 30 seconds and we'll see those. I just don't want to get too far into outages before we get back to alerts. The other thing alerts will give you is in requests. If you have requests that have SLAs, in this particular case, let's see if I have, that one was paused. Let's see if I have an SLA. We can turn on SLA. And we're going to go full screen for this just to give us, see if we can find an SLA. Oh, there was one over here. Hang on. I saw one. Picked the wrong one. Okay, so we have an SLA breached. So this will show up as a alert. This is obviously an alert for the technician Roadrunner. Okay, that SLA was breached. So if I look in my alerts here, SLA breached. Okay, I don't know if that was the same one, but it'll be the same thing pretty much. And that was automatically generated by the SLA because timeout happened. If I go into this particular one, oops, wrong one. If I go into the SLA breach, I can click here to go to the request, and it'll tell me, well, progress is 100%, so this one's probably closed by now. Yeah, this one's closed. Or status pending. This is for Sean. So that's an alert for Sean. I'm not on his team for this particular workflow, so I can't change that. Let's try this one. See what this one is. Yeah, this is probably Sean too. This is system user. Okay. Roadrunner isn't on too many teams. But if I went to requests again and we look at that one, for instance, 560 was an escalation to Roadrunner. We see it's breached. We can see the breach incident. So it's 100/560 would be the one. And we can update this as information update. Uh-oh. Adjusted publish time. So I have to, you can see this is back in December. All right. So I'd have to say, yeah, I'm going to modify this for today. Done. Update. Sure that the dismiss, oh, it has to be, got to do it right. Okay. Gotcha. Cancel. 560. Let's go back in. Question is my system causing an issue, or I don't see why I can't change that one. I am part of the team. There, oh, I need to click inside, not that itself. So let's go March 7th, done. We're going to go here, March 7th, and we'll do a little bit farther out, update. Dismiss date must be great. Oh, I didn't make it. Interesting. March. Update. Okay. So that breach is now cleared, which will take those alerts away. All right. Whatever alerts were there. It'll still show under the alerts, but you won't have, it was 560. Yeah, it's down a ways. But it won't post another alert. You could see SLA breach, for instance. We change it to information. Okay. Let's look. Oh, we got our flashing. Yep, that's a ZENcast alert for today demo. That's what we put in, right? So if we go to, we're on alerts. Here's our demo for today. We could see who it is. Let's go over to our customers. Let's do a refresh. See what alerts show up. There it is. And there's the other one. So you can see how they just come in sequence on the ticker tape. Okay. Now the other way to view again is from the sidebar, because we have it open, that alerts are there. There's that one. I wonder why the other alert didn't show up here. I'm not certain. Maybe I didn't make it. Because I made it. It's not public. I needed to check public. So if we go into this alert and we go to this one and we go to edit, and if we made it a public, notice it's either public or role, then it would show up there. Okay. All right. So let's go to outages. I hope that's clear as mud for you. I don't see any questions. Let's go to outages. So we're going to go over to service. There's your SLAs. Oh, let's talk about SLAs, right? SLAs have some details within them that will then send you alerts. All right. You have your targets. If the priority is low, medium, high, urgent, depending on what they are, this will automatically set your SLA timer countdown. All right. And these are the workflows it works in. So the service request workflow for this particular one. So if we went to the service request workflow and we went to the life cycle, it would start once it's opened up, pending. Okay. So you could see here that if it's in an active state, it will then be, the time will be ticking. If it's not in an active state, then it won't. So this tells you what, like pending no contract, it's pending. It's not in an active state. It's pending for some reason. So we configured it that way. If we go to open, we could see it is in an active state and the ticker's going. So you have these parameters you can set in your SLAs to be notified. Then you go a little bit deeper and you can go to operational level agreements to make sure you're 99.999% uptime, and you could do your OLAs as well, which are part of your the advanced version of Service Desk. Okay, it has the same thing, targets, the teams. I don't have anything set up on this really, but it would do the same thing. Okay, pause on SLA holiday. Is it a holiday? We're not going to count that against you type thing. Sometimes, a lot of times on holidays, that's when you have your downtime, right? Okay. All right. So that's where then you have your breach codes and your workflows here, of course. Okay. So that's your SLAs, being able to do those. Technician sidebar, technician portal, and then the customer portal. We covered those. The severity, the roles, the alert message, got that. Okay. We didn't cover change control, but you can, obviously there'll be alert for change control and notifications for change control. But let's go over to outages. And we talked a little bit about the dependent settings on that again. We go to the administration console under setup, set up privileges, and then we go to the system, and we had these down here. Okay. Notice we also have them for the forums if you want to have a public forum. If you don't, you can take it off. Again, we took off a couple up here, right? Public knowledge base, public surveys. Maybe we only want alerts and requests and outages. Okay. Again, this is a key component right here. Depending on your outage, how it will be displayed. All right. And again, your help explains it a little bit better. And then do you want to show change requests in these outages? So we'll go ahead and hit save here. We've turned off public forums now. So the customer portal or the public portal won't show that. But we have the criticality very low at this time. Let's go to our outages and see. As a technician, if I'm able to do outages, it's under configuration because it's an outage for an item. One thing that's really confused me when I first got this is configuration. It's not so much that it's a configuration of the system, which is under the setup administration portal over here, but it's a configuration of items. So your item categories and your types and your outages and things related to that particular item. Okay, so configuration was put in here because CMDB is a common term for that, configuration database management, which is for these types of items. Okay, so hope that explains why configuration is here. Not my favorite terminology for this particular tab, but now that I have that understanding, it's easier to get to. Okay, so we have configuration and we have a configuration of types. We have outages. And if we look at our outages, we have scheduled maintenance for router firmware backup coming up on this weekend. And then out a little bit, we have the scheduled maintenance server room. Okay. If we look at these, we could see that we have different intervals. A one-time, is it just a one-time outage? Oh, we got an emergency outage, and it could be a change control or not a change control, but we got email system having a problem. We're doing a one-time emergency outage, right? So that's where that would come into play. The weekly, monthly is obviously for more maintenance and those types of planned outages. And you have your dates. You have the type of notification. Do you want to do SMS, email, or none? And then primary contact or not, right? Or all owners. And then if you select none, you'll see obviously everything below it goes away for those types of things. But you can also do a reminder. When do you want to remind these contacts when this planned outage is coming up, right? An hour before, whatever. You could select specific items for that, and we can hit save. All right. Now, with this particular outage, we could see that we have 2 of them. And let's see what our portal shows us. Notice forums is gone. So this is actually a different outage that I have in here for the public. This one's labeled public, and they're for these particular computer types. Outages are being worked on by technicians. So we have these types of outages going on here. All right, so I have 2 in place for that. If we go to the customer portal, we can go to outages and we can see these are the same ones that are in place there. What's being worked on? It's offline. Here's the response times. I put these in, I believe, in minutes because I wanted to escalate that. All right. So if we went to, I think these are scheduled. Or this is the planned one I did today. Okay. It's planned outage for computer IT type of hardware. And the customer is Sean. So you can notify Sean also. and the item. So that's a particular server. That's the ZENworks zone. Okay, so you have planned outages and outages. All right. You also have states. So let's go back in here. I spelled it wrong. You also have these states, the status. What you want, what is the status if it's offline? So basically, if you decided to do an alert outage, you could see these are planned outages. If we go to current outages, there are none. Concluded outages, you can see we've had some. But we also have under the items, sorry, let me go back. I'm sorry, outages. This is the service zone, the server, the zone server. All right. No notifications. It happens monthly and so forth. Okay. And the status is deployed currently. Okay. Now, if we go to our item types for laptop, search, let's see if I can find this. Top power user. So this is the other thing you can do with outages is if I turn an item, so this is a customer's everybody. This is a particular laptop power user. So I did everybody so it would come up on everybody's screen. But if the status goes offline, there's going to be an outage. All right. So if I were to pick an item, let's pick this guy, edit, and the status of it is offline, and we're going to actually do everybody so we don't have to log in as these individuals. Save. Let me see if that was enough to give us our outage. Yep, there's our outage. So again, automating the system so that if your outages sees a particular device or device's servers that's posted as offline, have a status in there. And as soon as I put these online, it'll then, which one was that? That was the 0P1. 0P1. As soon as I turn it online, it sees and will, or deployed, it'll then take it out of the list. Okay? Very, very effective. So these are different outages that are set if it's offline. This one is planned outages for maintenance or whatever. And you have your details here. Okay? All right. So let me see. Yeah, offline, online status. So making sure you have those set and being able to regulate those. And again, it appears in the technician portal sidebar, which is your public. This should say public right next to it because it's your technician portal sidebar. And then your technician for outages is here. And then obviously you have some others, right? And then customer portal, which is what we displayed here. Okay? Those are some of the setups and configurations for outages and alerts. I don't see any questions in the comments here or in the chat. I don't know if I went too quick or if that kind of shows it, but just be aware that this outage bell here shows the alert. Sorry, this alert bell here shows the alerts currently happening, right, for the technician portal. If I go into the administration portal under setup, any particular, let me trigger another alert. This alert is just for the administration portal. All right. So you have, depending on which portal you're in, this is the administration portal because it's your setup. This alert shows you those alerts for the administration portal. This one shows you for the technician portal. And then if you want to see all the alerts, you can see them here. Okay. But again, that automating of those statuses, if a particular device is down or not deployed, or maybe it's out for repair, you may need to turn off the SLA. You may want to, the ticker. You may want to put it in as, oh, this is my list of what I have to check out today. For instance, my outages. Oh, these two devices are still offline. I wonder why. Let me get some technicians on it. Right? So this can be a checklist for you in a way, notifying you of outages. And it doesn't have to be a device. It could be a service, an email service or something as well. Okay? All right. So let's see. That's what I wanted to show today, was those things. I don't see any questions in chat. Alerts and outages. And again, let's see, change control. If we did a new, sorry, wrong one. Do a request, change control. And we'll do Roadrunner. We'll say we're going to go hardware. P1, was it P1? I don't know if it, oh, that's type. That's going to be computer IT. And this list adjusts as you put these in. So if I take this out, it lists everything. So then we could do hardware. Oops. And computer IT. And if I knew a particular detail about that, I can quickly get to it as well. But let's go and see if I can find that same device. I think it was out here. Oh no, that's it. Okay, we'll pick this guy. Oh, this is a good one. We'll pick the server. And we're going to do maintenance. Last maintenance date we don't have to fill in. It's not required. If we wanted a dynamic form, maintenance downtime. Nice thing about the dynamic form is if you had a change request, oh, there we go. It's going to be a database, let's say. It's going to be the Oracle database. You can actually put a form in there. Maintenance downtimes request. For this weekend. And we'll say, we're going to say this is going to be high because it's coming up to the weekend and I want to make sure it gets out there. Okay. Now in this case, Infotech level 1 is the guy that's going to receive this in order to get this particular request. We can log in as him if you want. I always forget IT 1L1 TCH, I think. Yeah, I always forget these guys' name. Try to make it simple and then I forget. Infotech, this guy here, so it'll be Infotech 1. Let's go log in. Infotech 1. I am really surprise. T1L1. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I got change request in here. And you can see it's in here. All right. And we're going to say approval. So we're approved. We're ready to take care of that this weekend. And you can see we have some service agreements. Okay, level here. And we have 1 day, 23 hours, 58 minutes for this to be, that it's due. Okay, different SLA. I should have a change request SLA to make sure it's done, but we could see that here. Okay, so now let's look at, I don't think it's going to be here because we have the alerts in there. I don't know that I set it up for outages. No. But I did set up, oh, he can't get to the administration console. So the change control, I don't know that I set up change control for it to display. Okay. Change, that's the groups. Okay, let's go back to request change. So Eric in operations is a technician. Computer IT maintenance downtime. This is request for this weekend. The details, and it's still ITIL1, or it went to Eric because it's looking for approval. So it's still going through the workflow because there's approval for change control. You could say, okay, it has to go to the board to approve that we're bringing this system down. It could be an enterprise system, so you want to make sure people are aware of it. And so it's going through the approval process right now. You can see here the manager approval. So we'd have to log in as Eric. Eric would see it in his. So, and let me see if I have Eric. We got a couple minutes. Where is Eric? I'm trying to remember if it's just Eric or if he has the last initial. Oh, he's going to be a user. I don't see him. Hang on. Log in. Eric. Okay, requests. We can see we got a change request. We want to approve this. Let's see if we can get this rolling. Eric, he's going to approve right here. Hit yes. Now it's going to go to, it's going to go out of his queue. And we're going to go back. I'm seeing Eric still here as a technician. I expected it to be gone out of his queue. Let's add a note real quick. Okay. Oh, can't do it. I didn't have enough information. Let's go out. Log in as Roadrunner again. He's a supervisor, so it's a little easier to see what's going on with the tickets this way. It's still in Eric's. Oh, it's now in the change management workflow with multiple line manager approvals. So in this particular case, the change management needs, the security officer, the CTO, people aware, the senior systems, a supervisor, and that's what I have in place here. That's why it went to multiple people in this particular instance. So we're not going to use this one so much. This was a bad example, but what we were trying to do is get it to show up as an outage. But it has to go through the process until the outage is approved. Okay. You may ask, let's see if I can pull this one out, what the approval process is. Under fields, I'm thinking, trying to remember exactly where. There's your SLAs. At archive requests. Users. Let's go over to users. No. There's a place where there's percentages where you could set up the percentages, and I don't have that ticked right now. So anyway, so we have, let's go ahead and finish up. Coming up schedule, ZSD change control outages and alerts today. There's a webinar on the 16th about SAS use for zones. Analyzing ZDC logs on the 21st. April, we're going to do analyzing ZENinfo logs. So we're going to have a series of logs that we're going to be looking at. There's future and customer requests here. Please put them in and email us if you have requests for different ZENcasts you'd like to see demoed at zen@microfocus.com. You can also go to our upcoming schedule, which we showed you earlier. A few of the versions, we're on update 3 right now. The March PRU has been released. Soon to be an imaging update, but they do have some imaging fixes for update 3 if you're using imaging, so contact support for those. ZRS 7.8, ZSD 831, and hardware hybrid workspaces 22.9. Some upcoming is update 4 for ZCM 2020, ZRS 8.0, and ZSD 8.4 with hardware hybrid workspaces at 23.1 coming up in future release coming up soon. Some of the community cool solutions and videos are out here. So these are links that you can go to see the different details. So make sure you download what's in the this particular presentation in the chat. And then here's some TIDs that are recent that have been developed. ZDC throwing, ZCC Center throws an exception implementation. So if you're getting something or you feel like this might be pertaining to you, you have quick links to them. Also check the cookbooks. And then there's some blogs. The community, make sure you go out to the community so you can get involved with the blogs and discussions and be up to date on some of the latest tips and news. Okay. And then there are other live casts like this one, but more webinar style. Filer the first Thursday, GroupWise the second Thursday, ZENworks the third. Sorry, not Tuesdays. Filer the first Thursday, GroupWise the second Thursday, ZENworks the third Thursday, and OES iPrint the fourth Thursday. All right, and those links are in here so that you could register for those as well. Robin Redgraves takes care of the Filer, GroupWise, and OES, and Darren and Vikram take care of the ZENworks. Okay, you can register for those. There are conferences in the past. Don't forget about Meet the Experts at ZENworks on March 22nd and register for that. The TTP USA is coming in July, and we just had a TTP EMEA last week. So you can check sessions on those if you're interested in seeing what was talked about, and it might help you with your environment. Okay. The next ZENcast topic is on March 21st. We'll be analyzing ZDC logs for ZENworks Zone. We've done a couple of ZENworks service desks, so now we're going to get back over to ZCM, analyze some logs, both ZDC, ZENinfo, and check out how we can easily do that. I want to thank everybody for being here. I appreciate your time. I hope it was informative for your service desk solution, and we'll be talking with you soon. Have a great weekend, or week and weekend. We'll see you next time.